Welcome to this episode of Toys Bag Zen. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Battlestar Galactica Viper vehicle. These were made for figures that were around an inch and a half tall. They're really small, and I've got 3 of these right now. If you saw my latest haul, you'll see that I got one pretty much complete, but it's needs a repair. So we're going to take all 3 of these Vipers. I have some 3D printing to do, and we're going to take them all apart and fix them and make one really good example, a second example with some 3D parts, and a third example with 3D parts and some repairs. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to take this thing apart. There are 2 screws on the bottom of the main front part. That comes apart like that, and you can see the mechanism inside that's holding in the front landing gear. There's 1 screw that holds that in. Just pop that off, and then you can take the wheel out. Now the top part has the switch mechanism for the missile. So there's 1 screw that holds that in, and then there's a peg that holds that part in too. And you'll notice inside there is the button with a small spring and then a large spring in the front. And that just pops out. If you watch my Cylon Raider video, then you'll see that the switch mechanism is exactly the same. If you want to check that out, here's a link up on the top right of the screen if you want to favorite that. Now, I don't have a missile for this vehicle, so I'm going to use this 3D printed one. And here's some 3D printed wings that I printed out. I'll put a link down in the description for the person that did these. These wings were in the large 3 3/4 scale, and I just scaled them down. And this is what it looks like with the 3D printed wings. They look really good. I think these are going to work. Now, both of these vehicles are missing the canopy. So as we speak, I've got some clear canopies being 3D printed. And here they are here. Now, we've got the original canopy in the middle and 2 3D printed canopies here. They're in a clear resin, but unless they're polished at 12,000 grit and then polished really good, you really can't see through them very well. I'm going to try a technique today to see if we can make them a little bit more clear looking. But first, we have to notice that these canopies are a little longer than the original. They're not the exact same shape of the original canopy. So I'm going to spend some time on my bandsaw. We're going to cut these down and make them a little shorter. So after cutting them and reshaping, a little bit of sanding, I've managed to get them around the same length that we need. I'm just going to glue these back together with a little bit of Gorilla Glue. I just used 320 grit sandpaper to, make the two pieces so that they would be flush and they would glue with a really strong bond. So here is the original canopy. I just want to take a look at this. It is kind of a transparent black color, almost like it's been tinted. And these are not like that at all. These have been glued together though. To make these 3D printed resin canopies, I'm going to use some floor polish. This is Rejuvenate. And I'm going to see if I can get these to be a little bit more, at least shiny, and perhaps a little bit more clear so that we can see through them a little bit better. This is an experiment, but we'll try it out and see if it works. It probably would work better if I took some sandpaper starting at 600 grit and working my way up to 12,000 grit and then using the Rejuvenate. We would probably be able to see through the canopies a lot better. It seemed to work a little bit. Let's see what happens after it dries. That's the first one. Takes the cloudiness out a little bit. I just feel like trying to sand on the inside of the canopy was going to be a little difficult and time consuming. And I really don't care too much that you can see through them completely. Just like the tinted one, you can't really see through it that well anyway. But I wanted to just at least make these canopies a little bit less opaque. So I'm just dabbing off the excess Rejuvenate here, floor polish, and we'll let that dry. I can already see that it's making a difference already. Now we have to fix this wing. This is going to be on my best example. I only have 2 wings out of the 3 ships here. So we're going to have to fix the wing. And we're also going to have to fix this. There's a lot of dog bites on this where a dog was chewing on it and stuff. So this is obviously going to be the worst example that I'm going to put together. But I want all 3 of them to be at least displayable. So let's fix this wing. I've got the original piece here, which is remarkable that it was still in the ship. So I'm going to be drilling a hole into the wing and into the piece that I have. I'm going to be using this white rod. This is plastic that you use for creating the white dots on the top of a guitar neck. When you're playing guitar, when you look down on the fretboard or on the side of the fretboard, you'll see white dots, or sometimes they're black. But that's what this plastic is from. And I'm going to be using this plastic. It's white, and I believe you can use it with the plastic weld. It feels like the same kind of plastic as styrene, but I'm not going to use plastic weld today. We're just going to drill these out and use this white rod plastic to connect them together. Should be a really strong bond. All right, now usually I would take an X-Acto knife and make my pieces flush, but I don't want to do that with this piece because there is a certain shape that we have, and I want that piece to fit in to the wing, kind of like a puzzle piece, and I'm hoping to get a good result from that. So let's spend a few minutes drilling this out, and then we'll glue it together. And that worked out really well. That's going to be a strong bond and a strong repair. We'll just let that dry for a few hours, and I'll clean it up a bit. Next, I'm going to focus my attention to this engine. You can see the bite marks here from a dog, I believe. I don't think it was a kid. And this was broken off, so I'm going to try to cut this piece out into a square opening. Then I'll use some styrene and create a new piece to glue into there. So now I'm going to cut the styrene out, and I'm just going to use the opening here as a guide to how long I want it to be. And then I just cut it out, and I'm just going to make a couple more adjustments. You notice how I've made a long strip on the bottom. There needs to be an opening for the wing to slide in there and move up and down, and I'll show you how that works here in a minute. But first, I want to take some hot water on the styrene. The engine has a round curve to it. I'm going to try to curve it with some hot water and just these needle nose pliers here, just to kind of bend it and curve it into the shape that I want. If it doesn't stay there like that, then I'll just glue it in place and do it that way. But I just want to see if I can get this to fit in and have a little bit of a curve to it before I glue it in. It might make the gluing process a little easier. So it has a little curve to it, but I'm just going to glue the bottom part on first, and then a little tiny bit of this side part of the engine. We'll glue that in and then let that dry really good, and then I will bend it a little bit more and glue the lower portion of the engine and give it that curve that I want. So I'll let that dry, and then I'll come back and glue the top. Here is the next part. I've just glued this. It is round, but it's not staying completely curved. So I'm just going to use a little like bag clip for holding small bags together, and I'm going to put that on there, and then hopefully that'll hold that together while the glue dries. So here it is all dry. It seems to be working out pretty well. It looks great. I got a new cutting mat. I was at the dollar store today and picked up a whack of supplies. The cutting mat they had there for it was like $4. So I'm still going to be using my clipboard once in a while because it makes a good area to do painting and stuff like that. But this green cutting mat is nice because it's got almost like a grid on it, so you can use that for measuring sometimes. So I've got some Vallejo paints that I have mixed up. Got some white and gray, and I mixed that up. And I'm just going to paint it here really quickly. That looks a little light. I know it's going to darken up when it dries, but I think I'm going to use a little bit more black and darken that paint up. Then we'll let it dry. Well, that looks better. All right, cool. We'll let that dry, and let's move on to the next thing that we have to do. Here are the springs that are all clean now. Put those in vinegar. We've got our engine repaired. We've got our wing repaired. And I also repaired 2 of the wheels. Now, I've done this in my previous video. Like I said earlier, I did a Cylon Raider video and I restored it. If you want to check that out to see how I fixed the wheels, you can check that out. So let's see how this wing goes in. This was the repaired wing, and there's 2 holes in the engine on the inside that these wing clips fit in, and it's really tight getting those in there. That's why I wanted to make this wing repair really strong, because I needed to make sure that those wings could move up and down without it breaking again. That seemed to work out pretty good. Now that we have the wings on, we're going to put the front engines on. And that just goes in there like that. Now this is the part that screws in. This screw has to be nice and tight, and this is a screw with a point on it. It's the only screw that has a point on it that you use to put this engine together. Next, we're going to put the bottom of the engine together, but first we have to get the wheels in there. There's 2 wheels that fit into the bottom there. And then this bottom engine piece, and it just fits in there. We want to line the wheels up good so that they don't fall back into the engine before I get this thing all put together. So line that up. And then we have 1 screw that we need to screw this back together. And that's all there is to the back half of this vehicle. Looks pretty good. We're going to need some new stickers on some of these vehicles, and we'll get into that later on. We're just checking to make sure that wing moves up and down, and it does. It's a little tight, but that's fine. Next, let's start with the bottom fuselage. So we want to put the front wheel in. We have the stabilizer that holds the wheel in place. Once that's put in there, there's 1 screw that holds that together. We just screw that in. Just want to make sure the wheel turns, and it does. Next, I'm going to put together the switch mechanism for the missile. So there's the switch button. The little spring goes on top of that. This big spring goes here. And then we have the piece that fits in on top of it that holds it all together. Now there's 2 circles that are connected to that. You need to line those up. 1 is for the screw, and 1 is for just a little peg that holds it in place. And also the spring, the small spring on the button, needs to be set into a little circle inside the black holder. So we just screw that all in together, and that will hold everything for the missile launcher. And it seems to work. Let's try a missile. Yep, and it works. All right, so let's move on to something else. So putting the front body together, there's 2 screws on the bottom, 1 on the front, 1 on the back, and it's all together. Next, we connect the 2 pieces together with that back clip, and it just clips in place. Starting to look really good. And then we have the original canopy, and what you do is you put one side in, the other side should slide in no problem. Well, there's our best example of the 3 Vipers that we have. Here's our second best example with the 3D printed parts. It looks pretty good. I'm going to repair some of those stickers. And here is the worst Viper that I have. I'm going to use some Vallejo satin paint, or satin varnish it's called. I needed to get some of this because all I had was spray paint, satin spray paint, and it was an oil-based paint, and it was not adhering well to my acrylic paint. Next, I'm going to use this Zippo lighter fluid and some cotton buds, and I'm just going to go all around the 3 Vipers, clean up all of the dark spots. Plus, I've taken the stickers off, all 3 of them, mainly those engine stickers. Some of them were missing, and you can see up top there I've got some new stickers here that I've cut out. Those are just printed from my printer using white vinyl sticker paper. So let's put these engine stickers on. New tweezers. That's better. So next, I want to try to keep all of these stickers as original as possible if I can. Now, it seems like this sticker on the top wing here could be replaced. I just don't like the color of these stickers that I have, and I think we can save this one that is original. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue stick. This is acid-free glue stick. These stickers have 2 layers to them. There is a plastic covering on the top that I think keeps the stickers quite vibrant in their age, but underneath the plastic is a paper-based part of the sticker. This one is not only coming off, but the plastic has separated from the paper. I'm just going to use this toothpick and put a little glue underneath the paper part, and then in between the plastic and paper, and sandwich that together. Hopefully I can make this sticker look much better. Now on my worst example, I need to replace this sticker because it was in pretty much completely gone already. So I'm just going to replace it, even though the stickers are a different color. It seems like they fit on pretty good. They're about the same size. So we'll just replace it. And some new stickers on the 3D printed wings. Now I have 2 Vipers that have 3D printed wings. So I will do this one with the 3D printed wings. And of course, I'm going to be replacing all of the stickers for those Black Arrow engine stickers. All of those are going to be replaced. There is 4 for each Viper. So there is my completed Vipers. We've got the new 3D parts and stickers on. They're all cleaned up. And some of the stickers have been replaced and repaired. We've got our canopies. And I'm happy with that. So let's put these all together. Let's get I'm missing the missile in this one. So let me find the missile here somewhere. So thanks for watching. I'm ToysBackZen. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Comment down below. Let me know what you think of these repairs. And if you want to share this with somebody else that you think might enjoy these videos, then please share. So thanks for watching and see you later.